It's Friday night. Oh, yes, it is. Strictly Sports. Hello, friends. Anthony Floyer here with you for another edition of Strictly Sports. Michael Bullock will not be joining us tonight as he called in the night early because he is taking part in the Super Plunge as part of the. Excuse me 1 minute. Yeah, Michael Bullock will not be joining us this evening because of the Super Plunge that he is taking part in. So, yeah, of course, we all know as part of these Special Olympics, he's doing this 24-hour super plunge, and he wanted to be well rested up for that. So that's why Michael Bullock will not be joining us this evening. So Michael Fletcher and I will have you covered for this edition of Strictly Sports tonight. So, but don't worry, Michael Bullock will be with us on Sunday night when we recap the WWE Fastlane pay-per-view event. So Bullock, this show will be for you, and of course, we're dedicating this show tonight to some members of our East Providence Townie family, the Val's family. We are dedicating this show Jameer Strong. That's what we're doing here because we are family, after all. So this show is dedicated to their memory, and Michael Fletcher will address that. He can address that in his as part of the shout outs at the end of our show. So with that being said, let's dive on this edition of Strictly Sports. Not the biggest of dockets, but we're gonna get through it anyway. We're going to start off with Earvin Magic Johnson being named the president of the Los Angeles Lakers. He talked about it, and now Earvin Magic Johnson will get the chance to run the Los Angeles Lakers. In a front office restructuring move, the former Lakers great was named as the team's president of basketball operations. Jeanie Buss, the Lakers governor, made the announcement in a press release. Johnson returned to the Lakers on February 2nd to advise ownership on basketball and business. He wasted no time on what his intentions were, telling USA Today after he was hired he wanted to be in charge. With this new role, Johnson will end his work with ESPN, where he was on the show NBA Countdown. It's a dream come true to return to the Lakers as president of basketball operations, working closely with Jeanie Buss and the Buss family, Johnson said in a statement. Since 1979, I've been a part of the Laker Nation, and I'm passionate about this organization. I will do everything I can to build a winning culture on and off the court. We have a great coach in Luke Walton and good young players. We will work tirelessly to return our Los Angeles Lakers to NBA champions. As part of the move, the team has fired longtime general manager Mitch Kupchak. Additionally, Jeanie Buss' brother, Jim Buss, will no longer be the executive vice president of basketball operations. Their father, Dr. Jerry Buss, died in 2013. Since his death, the franchise has struggled, last reaching the playoffs in 2013. Jim Buss previously had said he would step down after 3 or 4 years if the Lakers were not performing at a high level. Today, I took a series of actions I believe will return the Lakers to the heights Dr. Jerry Buss demanded and our fans rightly expect, Jeanie Buss said. Effective immediately, Earvin Johnson will be in charge of all basketball operations and will report directly to me. Our search for a new general manager to work with Earvin and coach Luke Walton is well underway, and we hope to announce a new general manager in short order. Together, Earvin, Luke, and our new general manager will establish the foundation for the next generation of Los Angeles Lakers greatness. Regarding her brother, she said he is an owner of this team and we share the same goal, returning the Lakers to the level of greatness our father demanded. Our fans deserve no less. And Magic has been there pretty much every step of the way. I mean, he was a player, as everybody knows, from 1979 to 91. and then briefly in 95, 96, was a head coach of the team in 1994, had ownership stake from 1994 to 2010, and now the president of basketball operations as of just a couple of short weeks ago. So this, well, it's necessary, obviously, because I mean, who better to run the presidency of basketball operations than the man who many call perhaps the greatest Laker of all time. I mean, here's a guy who was a part of several championship teams as a player, as part of the Showtime Lakers, and quite frankly, I think it's definitely necessary and warranted. They're obviously in rebuilding mode anyway. I mean, I don't see this team making the playoffs this year yet again because they are struggling again. And, you know, Jerry Buss, obviously, the man who, you know, put the Showtime Lakers together in the 80s, you know, when they had Pat Riley as their coach and Magic and Kareem and James Worthy and Byron Scott, Michael Thompson, and so many great talents that made those teams so fun to watch in the 80s. And, you know, I think they won 5 titles in the 80s and just amazing. So they got rid of Mitch Kupchak, who was relieved of his duties, Jim Buss. And they also parted ways with John Black, who was the team's vice president of public relations for more than 25 years. And Johnson said, I'm coming back to an organization that I love. And before he was named president, he was hired as an advisor to the franchise. And shortly thereafter, he expressed the desire to call the shots for the team. And he also said in an appearance on ESPN's First Take that should he get the job, his first call would be to retired Lakers superstar Kobe Bryant. And Johnson said he is already looking for a general manager to work under him. Rob Pelinka has emerged as the favorite to be hired as the team's new general manager, according to Bleacher Report's Kevin Ding. He played 13 seasons for the Lakers and is considered by many to be the best player in franchise history. He is a part of multiple successful business endeavors and owns a small portion of the Los Angeles Dodgers. The timing is right, Johnson said, and it was time to put my businesses aside and focus on the Lakers business. Mitch Kupchak had been in charge of personnel decisions since the year 2000. He was widely praised for orchestrating the Pau Gasol trade, but he faced criticism for signing Kobe Bryant to a 2-year deal worth more than $48 million while Bryant was out with a torn Achilles tendon. The Lakers have held meetings with marquee free agents in recent seasons, but have been unable to land any big names. And according to USA Today's Sam Amick, Kupchak and Buss pushed hard to acquire DeMarcus Cousins from the Kings in an effort to save their jobs. Cousins ultimately got traded to the Pelicans. They have endured 3 straight losing seasons, including a franchise-worst 17-65 record last season. And Johnson steps into his new role. He stepped into the new role with the trade deadline looming. And Kupchak said recently that the Lakers were active in the trade market with Lewis Williams and Nick Young, the most likely candidates to be moved, although I don't think that happens. So I'm all for it. I mean, the Lakers currently sit with a record of 19-42, and they are just getting underway now at Staples Center against perhaps their greatest rival of all time, the Boston Celtics. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Of course, we'll be doing NBA power rankings a little bit later on this evening. I'll tell you right now, I've got the Celtics in there. So where will they land? Well, you'll have to find out a little bit later on. So that's pretty much all I can say about this huge transaction for the Lakers. And if anybody can turn the fortunes around, I think it'll be Magic Johnson. It's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be right away. It will take time, as it does with any team that's rebuilding. With that being said, Girl MF, Michael Fletcher, Mr. NBA, front and center here. Magic Johnson, the president of the Los Angeles Lakers, a move that even though we're not Laker fans, I'll be honest, I feel it's definitely necessary and warranted in an effort to turn this team and get it back to where they once were, and that is, one of the most prominent and iconic teams in the league of all time.
They want to bring them back to the Showtime Lakers, Anthony. That's the main thing. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to be here as always. Decision. I'm sorry. Jim Buss and Mitch Kupchak was a complete and utter disaster. Yes, I can't believe I'm quoting the words of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, but they were. For the last 3 or 4 years, this team was nothing but a laughingstock, especially after that they had a few years ago when Mitch Kupchak did bring Pau Gasol. That was the final piece of the puzzle. That got him an NBA World Championship, and everything was good with Lakerland. But what really turned was after the untimely and unfortunate death of Dr. Jerry Buss, and Jim Buss became the became the guy of the LA Lakers. The Lakers went into a downward spiral. It was really more that they were making, the drafting, the signings of players, the coaching, hirings. It was all a mess. Jim Buss doesn't know junk about basketball as much as a lot of people may believe, and especially in Lakerland, they know I'm right about this. Jeanie Buss did the right thing by saying, you know what? Enough is enough. Give me the team. I'm going to turn this team around. What she did was hire Magic Johnson as the president of basketball operations, removing Ms. Kupchak. Now, we don't know what Magic is going to do. We don't know what he's going to do yet. We got to wait and see. But it's definitely a major upgrade. One other person that you talked about was Sam Malenka, Anthony. And no, he's not rumored to be the general manager of the Los Angeles Lakers. Anthony, I'm here to tell you he is the general manager of the Los Angeles Lakers. So you're wherever you found that reporting, that's a week ago. That is from a long time ago. I can tell you right here, right now, the day after Magic Johnson was named president of basketball operations, Sam Malenka became the general manager of the Los Angeles Lakers. He was the agent for Kobe Bryant, and that's how that happened. So yes, there is a connection with Kobe, with Magic, and the Lakers, and this was what we got. Now, what they're looking at is possibly a top 3 pick in the upcoming NBA draft. If everything falls the way that they want, who knows? They could end up with the number 1 overall pick. You don't know. If they do, they got a very deep NBA draft that they can select from. They're going to have a really good draft this year. Plus, there's also tensions to bring Paul George from the Indiana Pacers. Many people know that Paul George wanted to become an LA Laker. He's from the LA area. Rumors that I'm hearing is that Paul George will opt out of his contract at the end of the NBA season and possibly sign with the LA Lakers. If that happens, game on. So let's say that. At the end of the day, this was a necessary move. This was a great move for the LA Lakers. This had to happen. It's a shot in the arm for this team. It's a game changer for the Lakers. And I hope and do indeed pray that the future of the Lakers is bright, because this is one of the most recognizable top franchises in all of the NBA. Nothing but respect for this team. I mean, they have almost the second most NBA championships in the history of the game. That's how good they really are. The Boston Celtics is number 1. The Lakers are number 2. It's neck and neck. So at the end of the day, Magic wants to bring the Showtime Lakers, that Lakers of old that competes year in and year out for the NBA championship market, and the draft is going to become very, very, very important for the LA Lakers, because if they go into that step in the right direction, I'm telling you this right now, Anthony, give it 2 or 3 years, we might be saying the Lakers are back. And if that's the case, look out Western Conference, because it's going to get very interesting at that point. So with that said, let's move on to the next topic.
Keep your mic on, MF, because this one's all about you here. The first of 2, what I call MF specials on this show here tonight. We go to the world of boxing.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, in April, sometime next month, I know MF will have all the details. He'll have this all covered for you here and now. Manny Pacquiao is going to be squaring off against Amir Khan. MF, what do we think about this?
Well, the way I feel about this is that this is going to be a good fight. You know, Amir Khan, one of the bright stars, especially in boxing in the welterweight division, and he has become one of the top guys in the welterweight division, no doubt about it. What Amir Khan has brought to the table has been remarkable, amazing. Only 30 years old, so he's a very young fighter. He won the silver medal in the lightweight division in the 2004 Summer Olympic Games. And then from there, his career record, played 31 victories, 4 losses, 19 of those wins by way of knockout. And now he's going up against what I truly believe is one of the greatest fighters of our time for the WBO and for the lineal welterweight championships. He is the challenger for this fight, and he needs to really bounce back, because the last time that he fought, he lost to Canelo Alvarez, got knocked out in the 6th round, and that was at the T-Mobile Arena, actually May 7, 2016. And now he's going up against, like I said, to me, one of the greatest fighters in boxing, Manny the Pac-Man Pacquiao. I mean, I'm sorry, what is there to say about Pacquiao's boxing career? I mean, 67 fights, 59 wins, 6 losses, 2 draws, 38 wins by way of knockout. He has won 8 world championships in 8 different weight classes. That has made him, without a doubt, the greatest fighter of our time. The last time he's fought, the last 2 fights, that was against Timothy Bradley and Jesse Vargas. Those were 2 wins that he had, coming off of the fact that he lost to Floyd Mayweather, which was the biggest fight of all. And now these 2 men are going to fight. It's going to happen April 23rd. It's going to be the day of the fight. As of right now, we don't know where it's going to be. However, the rumor is that it's going to be at the United Arab Emirates. That's where they want to do this fight. United Arab Emirates is where they're possibly going to do this mega fight. I mean, this is going to be real fun, Anthony. These are 2 classic boxers. Pacquiao is so quick on his feet, so quick with his hands. He lights you up with 3 or 4 punches. For Amir Khan, he's a good counter puncher, a good side-to-side puncher. He is very good. Both guys really strong with knockout power. This is going to be, without a doubt, one of the more interesting fights to see. I can't wait for this fight to happen on April 23rd. So with that said, Anthony, it's all yours.
And now we're going to move on to the first of our 3 big main events on this docket here this week. And we just had MF specialty, the world of boxing. And now we're going to get into my specialty, baseball, as we are about to get into the 2017 installment of the World Baseball Classic. Yes, the World Baseball Classic will begin this Monday, March 6th, and will conclude on Wednesday, March 22nd. Championship game will eliminate from Dodgers Stadium in Los Angeles, Chavez Ravine, if you will. We have co-favorites in this tournament. The defending champions, the Dominican Republic, not a big surprise. But the other co-favorite, I was floored at who it was. And it's Team USA. Team USA and the Dominican Republic, as of now, are the co-favorites to win the World Baseball Classic. Fans of international baseball are about to get a real treat with the 2017 edition of the World Baseball Classic. All other fans will likely be conflicted as they watch their favorite players try to give 100% effort in the middle of spring training. The World Baseball this World Baseball Classic is a 17-day event that will match teams from 5 continents. The tournament will start this Monday, March 6th, and will conclude on Wednesday, March 22nd at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. This is the 4th World Baseball Classic, following events in 2006, 2009, and 2013. Japan won the first 2 tournaments. The Dominican Republic won in 2013. Major League Baseball stars can be found on multiple rosters this year. The U.S. team boasts the likes of Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, Buster Posey, Jonathan Lucroy, Daniel Murphy, Giancarlo Stanton, Andrew Miller, and Chris Archer. The Dominican squad is a virtual all-star team, led by Robinson Cano, Manny Machado, John Segura, Jonathan Villar, Jose Bautista, Starling Marte, Johnny Cueto, and Carlos Martinez. Venezuela is led by Miguel Cabrera, Jose Altuve, Carlos Gonzalez, Salvador Perez, and Felix Hernandez. And Puerto Rico has the likes of Yadier Molina, Carlos Beltran, Francisco Lindor, Carlos Correa, and Javier Baez from the World Series champion Chicago Cubs. Injury concerns have intruded on the buildup of the tournament, however. The defending champion Dominican Republic will be without Boston Red Sox first baseman / DH Hanley Ramirez with a shoulder injury, and it may not have Texas Rangers third baseman Adrian Beltre who's battling a calf injury. The U.S. team has lost Washington Nationals pitcher Max Scherzer due to a finger injury, and Oakland A's right-hander Sonny Gray, uncertainty over health insurance, and it's monitoring the status of Buster Posey, who's battling a neck injury, and Miami Marlins catcher AJ Ellis, who's battling a hamstring. Mexico may be without LA Dodgers first baseman Adrian Gonzalez with an elbow. Japanese pitching and hitting sensation Shohei Ohtani will skip the event because of an ankle injury. And Team Venezuela will be without Philly shortstop Freddie Galvis with a groin injury. We have 16 teams representing 15 countries and 1 Commonwealth in this World Baseball Classic. Australia, Canada, China, Chinese Taipei, Colombia, Cuba, defending champion Dominican Republic, Israel, Italy, 2-time champion Japan, Mexico, we got the Netherlands, Puerto Rico, South Korea, United States, and Venezuela. MLB Network is the exclusive English language network for the Classic. ESPN Deportes is the Spanish language network, and each network will air all games in the United States. And here is the schedule as follows. Pool A, which will consist of South Korea, the Netherlands, Chinese Taipei, and Israel, will play their games from March 6th through the 10th in Seoul, South Korea. Pool B, which is comprised of Cuba, China, and Australia, will play their games on March 7th through the 11th in Tokyo, Japan. Pool C, or as I call it, the group of death, Canada, Dominican Republic, USA, and Colombia will play their games March 9th through the 13th in Miami, Florida. And Pool D, which comprises of Mexico, the other group of death, Mexico, Italy, Puerto Rico, and Venezuela, will also play their games from March 9th through the 13th in Guadalajara, Mexico. These are the first round games. Round 2, the winners and runners up of pools A and B will meet in Pool E. Those games will take place from March 12th through the 16th in Tokyo, Japan. And the winners and runners up of pools C and D, representing Pool F, will play their games March 14th through the 19th at Petco Park in San Diego, California. And the semifinals and finals, winners and runners up of pools E and F, March 20th, 21st, and 22nd at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California. Opening games, March 7th, Team Cuba will play Team Japan. And I'm not making up this start time, 5 a.m. Eastern time. Yeah, you can have a little breakfast with that. March 9th, Team Canada versus Team Dominican Republic, 6 p.m. Also on March 9th, Team Mexico against Team Italy at 9 p.m. March 10th, Team Colombia against Team USA, 6 p.m. And on March 10th at 9 p.m., we rounded out with Team Venezuela and Team Puerto Rico. So, got all that? Hope so. So, as I look at this, I mean, C and D, you could really make an argument. I don't know which group is the more likelier group of death, but Pool C, I'm leaning towards Pool C because you got the two odds-on favorites in there, the Dominican Republic and the USA. And Colombia, we know they've got some great talent, and Canada as well. And Pool D, with Mexico, Italy, Puerto Rico, and Venezuela. Man, those are the two tough groups right there. I mean, Pool B, I mean, that's a two-horse race with Cuba and Japan. And then in Pool A, I mean, that's a toss-up right there. I mean, I really don't know who the favorite to come out of Pool A is, but boy, howdy. I mean, it's very tough. I mean, this can all go either way. I mean, we're not gonna preview every single team. I mean, we'd be here all night if we did that. But I mean, USA and Dominican Republic, like I said, they're the two odds-on favorites, and I think whoever comes out of Group C, whichever one of those teams it is, I think that team will go on to win it all. Because I mean, the rosters for both, like I said, they're both so stacked. But another team I need to watch out for, I need you folks to watch out for. Watch out for Mexico. They've got something to prove this time around. When we last saw Mexico in the World Baseball Classic, we saw disappointment. Team Mexico had advanced to the second round in the first two tournaments, and they were knocked out in pool play in the last World Baseball Classic. I mean, it's mind-boggling when you really think about it. I mean, I do apologize for this pop-up. I don't know where it is. I'm trying to find it. I can't. So, yeah, I mean, it really does boggle my mind. I mean, I think the Mexicans definitely have something to prove in this installment of the World Baseball Classic. Okay, here we go. I found the pop-up. Thank goodness. All right. They're a fascinating team for a couple of reasons. Namely, they've got a lot of major league talent. Adrian Gonzalez leads the way, and is their most important player. But on the pitching side, they've got a lot of options, such as Giovanni Gallardo and Jorge De La Rosa, plus a bullpen that includes Sergio Romo, Joaquin Soria, and Miguel Gonzalez. What Mexico has in pitching, though, it lacks in offense. Beyond Adrian Gonzalez, things get a little bit sketchy. It's what makes Mexico a good but not great team, and what could mean another early exit from the tournament. They play in Pool D on its home turf in Jalisco. Its first game against Italy on March 9th, and then it plays Puerto Rico on March 11th and Venezuela on March 12th. They were 1-2 in 2013, beating Team USA, but losing 6-5 to Italy and 10-3 to Canada. It did not advance out of pool play. Adrian Gonzalez remains the face of the franchise for the Mexican team. Even though he's been battling injury, he's remained committed to representing his country in the tournament. In the 2013 version of the WBC, he homered and had 3 hits in 3 games. The loss of Chris Davis hurts. The Oakland A's slugger, he of the 42 homers last season, was originally supposed to play for Mexico in this tournament, but he recently bowed out, saying he needs more time to train for this upcoming season. And since Mexico is a team in need of offense, his bat would have been a huge help. Some players you need to watch out for on this Mexican team: Alex Verdugo, another of the Dodgers on Team Mexico. While he hasn't cracked the big league roster yet, he has a chance to make an impact in this WBC. As I established, Mexico's offense is lacking. That's a good opportunity for Verdugo, an outfielder who is LA's number 2 overall prospect, according to MLB.com. Do they have a chance to win? Well, it's an outside chance. Mexico has big league quality pitching, so this is a story we've seen play out in MLB. Good pitching and so-so offense can prevail. It's not a safe bet at all, though. Venezuela looks like a monster, and Puerto Rico will be tough, too. And can they make it out of the first round? If the answer is yes, their prospects get a lot better. Both Julio Urias, the young Dodgers star, and Marco Estrada, the veteran Blue Jays starter, could join Mexico if it makes the second round, and both would be welcome additions. And the $1 million question with Team Mexico for me is, where's the offense going to come from? The lineup just is not as potent as some others in this tournament, so that means a lot rests on Adrian Gonzalez. With a good pitching staff, Mexico is the kind of team that could advance with just a few timely hits from its all-star slugger, specifically hits of the over-the-fence variety. So that's definitely a little scouting report that I came across with Team Mexico. I mean, Venezuela, you got to watch out for Venezuela as well. I mean, a Texas trio represents them. I mean, Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, Felix Hernandez, Pablo Sandoval. I mean, historically, they've entered as the favorite, but they never got to play for the big one. And, they got Roned Odor from the Rangers. And when they lost Galvis to the groin strain, they had to turn to Odor. And, you still got Altuve, Cabrera, Alcides Escobar, Martin Prado. I mean, Odor will likely get some playing. I mean, he's definitely gonna get some playing time, but as a bench player in a 3-week tournament. But Altuve, Cabrera, and Martinez, being around 3 of the greatest hitters today should do nothing but increase his knowledge of the strike zone and discipline at the plate. And Odor, he is a feisty player, and I think he'll definitely add some spark to that team. And Robinson Chirinos with as the catcher of this team, and Martin Perez coming off Tommy John surgery. And they're a member of Pool D. They're going to get a late start and not playing their first games until 4 days after it gets started. And before they take on Puerto Rico, they'll be taking on the Texas Rangers in Surprise, Arizona. And they'll work out and practice in Surprise, marking the trek for the Texas Rangers representatives relatively easy. So, I could go all night about this, but we don't have that kind of time. So, like I said, there's so many great teams out there, but to me, the two favorites are the U.S. and the Dominican Republic. And who do I like in I can definitely give you my pool predictions. When it comes to Pool A, I mean, you got Korea, Chinese Taipei, the Netherlands, and Israel. None of them really stick out as baseball hotbeds. While Korea is the host country for this pool, their team is not full of big-time talent. Neither does the Chinese Taipei squad. Don't expect either of those teams to make an impact. The other two teams have more MLB talent on their respective rosters. Israel's team will be carried by Scott Feldman, Craig Breslow, Sam Fuld, Ike Davis, and Ryan Lavarnway. They will also feature former Major Leaguer Jason Marquis. And Team Israel is not loaded with talent like other rosters, but since qualifying for the tournament, they have been an intriguing team to keep an eye on. The team that will stand out in Pool A, for me, I have to go with the Netherlands team. Their rosters feature such talents as Xander Bogaerts, Andrelton Simmons, Kenley Jansen, Didi Gregorius, and Jurickson Profar. And for good measure, they have even former Major Leaguer Jair Jurgens. The team from the Netherlands on paper is the superior one in Pool A. On the other hand, this is baseball, and there is always a chance for surprises. So my two winners from Pool A, Team Netherlands and Team Israel. And the player to watch, no doubt about it, Xander Bogaerts, representing the Netherlands team. Of course, you know, this young stud from the Boston Red Sox. In Pool B, in Tokyo, Japan, you know, you got Japan, you got Cuba, you got China, and you got Australia. At first glance, the pool looks strong, but the teams from Japan and Cuba will be missing some key eligible players. Japan will not feature such stars as Yu Darvish, Ichiro, or Shohei Ohtani. Cuba will be without Jose Abreu, Yoenis Cespedes, Aroldis Chapman, Yasiel Puig, and Yasmani Tomas. They are still the teams to be watched in this pool, however, and these two countries have been able to produce a ton of Major League talent, and the future talent may be on these squads. The other two teams in Pool B, China and Australia, don't have the reputation of performance and development as the other two nations. China could have had Colton Wong and Vance Worley on their team, but they declined the opportunity. Instead, the player with the most big league experience is pitcher Bruce Chen, who retired in 2015. Australia has Grant Balfour, Ryan Rowland-Smith, Luke Hughes, and Liam Hendriks as players of note on their roster. So for me, my winners of Pool B, Team Cuba and Team Japan, and the players to watch, Yoelkis Cespedes, the outfielder for Team Cuba, who was the half-brother of Yoenis Cespedes. And now to the first of my two groups of death, Pool C. This 14 pool that will play out in Miami, Florida at Marlins Park is the deepest pool in the tournament. With the U.S., the defending champion, Dominican Republic, Canada, and Colombia, we are in for a treat. While Canada and Colombia are not exactly known for producing a ton of MLB talent, they each have noteworthy players. Team Canada boasts the likes of Freddie Freeman and Justin Morneau, two players with MLB All-Star resumes. John Axford, the 2011 National League saves leader, will accompany them. Canada will also have two retired pitchers that come to many baseball fans' memories, Ryan Dempster and Eric Gagne. They have quite the squad above the border. Colombia will roll out pitchers Jose Quintana and Julio Teheran, two bright young pitchers who lead their respective MLB pitching staffs. The two top dogs are the U.S. and the Dominican Republic. Look for their stacked squads to battle for the Pool C crown and advance to the second round. With so many big names, it is hard to choose which one has the advantage. The U.S. has some of the best in the country, besides Mike Trout and Bryce Harper, including Paul Goldschmidt, Buster Posey, Giancarlo Stanton, and Adam Jones. That's just skimming the surface. The same goes for the Dominican Republic. Their roster includes 2013 World Baseball Classic MVP Robinson Cano, Manny Machado, Johnny Cueto, and Dellin Betances. Their roster looks like an MLB All-Star team, and they will be in the hunt yet again to be the World Baseball Classic champions. So needless to say, I got the Dominican Republic and Team USA coming out of Pool C, and the player to watch, representing Team Dominican Republic, third baseman from the Baltimore Orioles, Manny Machado. In Pool D, in Jalisco, Mexico, Guadalajara, Mexico, The last pool of the WBC will be playing south of the border in Mexico. Pool D consists of Mexico, Puerto Rico, Venezuela, and Italy. With the exception of Italy, all of these participants in this pool have very deep baseball roots. That will make for some interesting pool play. Team Italy is the weakest squad, no doubt about it. Their players of note, Francisco Chiavelli, Drew Batira, and switch-throwing pitcher Pat Venditti. That is nothing compared to the other countries in the pool. Mexico's star representatives include Adrian Gonzalez, Jorge De La Rosa, and Giovanni Gallardo. Mexico's roster is impressive, but not as strong as Puerto Rico's or Venezuela's. Puerto Rico is represented at the WBC by Francisco Lindor, Carlos Correa, Carlos Beltran, and Yadier Molina. While their pitching staff doesn't have the star power of Mexico's, their bats make up for it. Venezuela's roster boasts the likes of Jose Altuve, Miguel Cabrera, Felix Hernandez, and Salvador Perez. Their roster may be the deepest in Pool D, and they are overall the scariest of the 4 teams in this pool. Look for Puerto Rico and Venezuela to get my nods to come out of this pool. And the player to watch, second baseman Jose Altuve for Team Venezuela. Of course, you know Jose Altuve from the Houston Astros. The next rounds will be Pool E, played in Tokyo, Japan, and Pool F, played in San Diego, California. The championship round will be played in Los Angeles. The final round will consist of 2 semifinal games and 1 championship game. All games in the final round are single elimination. Pool E may come down to Cuba and Japan getting into the final round, but the Netherlands should not be overlooked. Pool F will be a battle to the finish, as all 4 teams are contenders for the 2 final spots. All of their rosters are deep, and each has MLB superstar talent. The Dominican Republic and the United States have the 2 deepest rosters in the pool, but Puerto Rico and Venezuela are both quite impressive. The final 4 may be controlled by Pool F, as their rosters seem to be more talent heavy than any roster in Pool E. So with that being said, I've got Cuba and Japan coming out of Pool E. I've got the Dominican Republic and the USA out of Pool F. I've got the Dominican Republic and Team USA in the championship game. It's very tough, but let's face it, the Dominican Republic team is a virtual all-star team. How can you not go against that? My winner of the World Baseball Classic will be Team Dominican Republic, and my MVP of the World Baseball Classic will be Manny Machado from the Baltimore Orioles. So that's it. That's all that. So, MF, I know that was a lot to take in. I know it's a lot to take in for everybody else, but this is my specialty, man. So I had to get into it. So I got Team Dominican Republic winning it, but I would not be surprised if Team USA were to win it either. So, MF, after hearing all this, what are your thoughts on this upcoming World Baseball Classic?
All right. First off, let me just break it down group by group, and then I'll give you my true thoughts. Pool A, I disagree with everything you just said. I don't believe Netherlands or Israel is not coming out of that group. I do know you. I think you really totally disrespected Chinese Taipei, and you also disrespected South Korea. South Korea finals of the World Baseball Classic in 2009. They were in the championship game in 2009, and they're ranked number 3 in the world according to the World Baseball Classic rankings. So I'm sorry, I totally disagree with you on everything you said on Group A or Pool A. So obviously I'm gonna go there. For Group B, yes, you gotta say it's Japan. You gotta say it's Cuba. I got no arguments there. Group C, Dominican Republic are definitely there. My sleeper team, though, keep your eyes on Canada. I think Canada is going to surprise a few people, but I want people to circle this game on your calendar. March 11th from Miami, Florida, Marlins Park, 8 it's going to be a 6:30 first pitch, USA Public. The winner of that game will most likely win the pool. Group D, okay. Now, a lot to go on this one because of the fact that Mexico has been one of those sleeping teams. Puerto Rico was the runners up 4 years ago in this tournament, and they could have won it all. They could have won it all if they didn't ran into the Dominican Republic. Now, Italy goes. I don't really think there's going to be much from them. Venezuela, they had a great showing in their last tournament. They were in third place. They won. They got third place 4 years ago, and as a matter of fact, they beat the USA in the third place game. So I mean, there's definitely that type of they could break it. Venezuela, let's see what happens with them. Mexico, they bowed out early second round in 2006, 2009. They really never really did anything in their last tournaments. So how's this going to play out? What do I think is going to happen there? For Group D, Mexico, I think they're going to move through. So once you get into the next part of it, I'm going to go like this. I think it's going to be South Korea and Japan, Dominican Republic. Let me see. Hold on. Is it the top 2 that goes through again? Okay. So it's the ENF. So it's the winner and the runner-up in that situation. All right. So, all right. I'll give you South Korea, Japan. I'll say Dominican Republic, and I'll go with USA. I have Japan and Dominican Republic in the finals. And with you, Anthony, I agree. I'm going to go with Dominican Republic to win the World Baseball Classic and successfully defend their championship. So with that said, we'll move on to the next article, on the next story.
And this is your other specialty, MF. The big event that's going down tomorrow night, of course, that being UFC 209. And that's what we're going to get into next here on this abbreviated edition of Strictly Sports. UFC 209 will be live tomorrow night from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, although it's really Paradise, Nevada, part of the Las Vegas metropolitan area. Run down the card here. 2 preliminary fights on the UFC Fight Pass. Albert Morales against Andre Salcomdat in a bantamweight match. And also will be Tyson Pedro against Paul Craig. And then 4 more preliminary fights on Fox Sports 1. Mark Godbeer against Daniel Spitz in a heavyweight bout. Ayuri Alcantara against Luke Sanders in a bantamweight bout. Misrad Bektik against Darren Elkins in a featherweight bout. And Marcin Tybura against Luis Henrique in a heavyweight bout. That's on the preliminary card on FS1. But I do believe, as is customary with all of our UFC previews and whatnot, we're going to get into the main card. And this looks like a pretty stacked card to me. Heavyweight fight, we have, how about this? 2 men who know Brock Lesnar very well. Alistair Overeem against Mark Hunt in a heavyweight matchup. What a matchup that's going to be. Amanda Cooper squaring off against Cynthia Calvillo in a women's strawweight match. Sugar Rashad Evans will go up against Dan Kelly in a middleweight bout. Lando Veneta against David Timur in a lightweight match. And then the main event for the UFC welterweight championship. Champion Tyron Woodley to defend the title against the challenge of Stephen Thompson. Woodley versus Thompson 2. Of course, we know they met back at UFC 205 back in November at Madison Square Garden. Woodley retained the title after the fight ended in a majority draw. So that's pretty much all the schematics that we know. So MF, we look at this this pretty loaded main card. If I'm going to be real honest with you, the Overeem and Hunt fight stands out to me. Of course, the women always stand out. We all know that. We got Sugar Rashad Evans on this event. But, of course, the headliner, Woodley Thompson 2 welterweight championship. As you look down this card, MF, of course, you and Alex Zapata will be heading up to the Buffalo Wild Wings tomorrow night to take it all in. So how does this card look to you?
It would look better, but we have problems. And I don't know. And I told a lot of people that I was going to get into this. I don't know if you read my post earlier today, but we lost the fight here. Tremar versus Vendetta was actually originally on the preliminaries and got added last minute into the main fight because Tony Ferguson and Khabib was supposed to be for the interim UFC lightweight championship and was going to be the next contender for Conor McGregor at the 155 belt. Well, what happened was before earlier today or earlier this afternoon, rumors swirled that Khabib was rushed to the hospital, which he was, in Las Vegas. And about 3 hours later, we heard the news that Khabib was not going to fight on UFC 209. Basically what happened is due to a count of dehydration, basically trying to do a weight cut, it got really dangerous for him. He lost, I guess, a lot of fluid, and it was a really messy situation. And what happened was Khabib was rushed to an area hospital in Las Vegas, and he's unable to fight. Nevada doctors deemed him unfit. UFC doctors would not clear him either. And basically, Tony Ferguson was left in the dust. At that point, rumors have swirled that Michael Johnson, a former contender for the lightweight title, had stepped up and said that he could fight on short notice. And not only that, but Nate Diaz had also, his name was thrown as a possible replacement for Tony Ferguson, that they could possibly do the fight, that he might get an opportunity to fight Tony Ferguson for the interim belt. However, at 5:30 this afternoon, Dana White made the official announcement saying that, I'm sorry, guys, but there is going to be no fight. Tony Ferguson will not be on the UFC 209 card due to the fact that basically Khabib was not medically cleared by the Nevada State Athletic Commission doctors, and basically he is out. And that's a downer because that really hurted the fight card. For me, that really left a bitter taste in my mouth. I was not happy with that call at all, but it is what it is. All right. Now, let's go to the main card itself. Alistair Overeem, many of you guys know he did have a mega fight not too long ago. He had a fight with the UFC heavyweight champion, Stipe Miocic, was stopped by Miocic, and basically a lot of people felt like this was Overeem's last opportunity. Many people believe he should retire after that. No, he wants to fight again. And he's going up against a real hard hitter, man. Mark Hunt. Anthony, you know him really well. You got to see him fighting Brock Lesnar at UFC 200. One of the biggest it's for him, and we saw what happened. Mark Hunt got overwhelmed, dominated by Lesnar. Lesnar went on to win the fight, even though he later found out that Lesnar was not, I guess you could say he failed the drug test. Hunt demanded an opportunity at the belt. No, but you're going up against the number 3 fighter in the heavyweight division. If you beat him, then maybe you get an opportunity at the heavyweight title. Many now know that the next guy who actually gets the shot at Stipe Miocic and the heavyweight championship is a former heavyweight champion himself, Chicano Santos, is getting the opportunity at the belt. So we'll wait and see what happens there. For Amanda Cooper and Cynthia Cavallo, this is going to be an interesting fight. Strawweight fight, 2 young ladies trying to work their way up the ladder. This is going to be an interesting matchup. I think it's more of an eliminator fight. So whoever wins will definitely probably make top 5 in the division and possibly maybe one day look at an opportunity to become the UFC strawweight champion. Of course, right now, Joanna Jacek is the reigning champion, and she's been ruling that division with an iron fist. There's really nothing more to say about that. All right. So next up we got is Sugar Rashad Evans. I mean, what is there to say? Rashad Evans, former UFC light heavyweight champion of the world, one of the best fighters in the world in my mind. He goes down in weight to middleweight division. He's going to fight at the 185 level, and he's going to go up against Dan Kelly, a young upstart, young rising star in the middleweight division. This is more, if Dan Kelly wins this fight, this is going to be a coming out for him. This could be his moment if he wins this title, or wins this fight, I should say. If Rashad Evans wins it, dude, it's just another notch on the belt of the legacy of Rashad Evans. Maybe he's looking at a top 5 fight. Maybe up, or he moves up the ladder. Maybe he might get a shot at the title. Even though I know the next title match for the UFC middleweight championship is Michael Bisping versus George St. Pierre. Yes, GSP is back, much to my chagrin, and Alex Zapato has been hitting me like a dead horse with that announcement. Ever since I found out that GSP is back, I have not been happy at all. Next up we got is Valentana versus Timar. Like I said, this was originally a fight that was on the pre-show, now, or on the preliminary card, now get knocked up to the main card. 2 young guys, definitely a contender type fight more than anything else in the lightweight division. This is kind of more of an entertainment fight, and let me tell you, if you did not see their weigh-in today, they almost fought today. I mean, it got really testy. Tremar really got the energy going. They got into each other's faces. They were talking some smack. Dana White had to separate the 2 guys because he was afraid that these guys were going to go right then and there, and they almost did. It was really good, really explosive. I can't wait for this fight. They really intrigued me on this one. Normally, when I get intrigued after a good temperamental weigh-in, and that's what it was. They're ready to go. They're geared up. I can't wait to see this fight tomorrow night. And yes, the main event, the big one, Tyrod Woodley versus Stephen Thompson, Wonder Boy versus the champion. I'm going to say it. I thought Tyrod Woodley won the first time around. I'm sorry. I disagreed with the judges. I thought Woodley won the fight. I thought he won it 3 rounds to 2. I actually scored the fight 48-46. I gave a 10-8 round in round 1 to Woodley, and then the final 4 rounds was literally split down the middle, 2-2. And I really thought Woodley won the fight. Thompson was really good, but one thing he can't do, hands down. I know that's your style. I know that's what you do. But let me tell you, you put your hands down and you almost got killed in the first round. Hands down, man down is what I always say. And he almost got destroyed in the first round. Woodley almost lost the belt in the fifth. He got rocked in the fifth round with a couple good shots towards the end of the fight. This is going to be an entertaining fight, no doubt about it. I can't wait to see this. I can't pick a winner with this one. Whoever wins this fight, I mean, good luck. I mean, I think Carlos Condit deserves an opportunity at the championship next. That might be the next contender. Who knows? But one thing is for sure, I can't wait for this rematch. I'm pleased that the UFC actually did the right decision and did this rematch. But let me tell you, I can't wait for this one. This is going to be exciting. And then next week, UFC in Brazil is a really exciting fight card. I want to cover that next week. I hope it's on the docket. Producers, Derek, please let me cover that fight. You want some real good in-depth? I'll hit you in-depth next week. This is going to be good. But tomorrow night, I'm definitely excited. Vegas, the home of the UFC at the T-Mobile Arena. Let's go. I can't wait. Anthony, it's all yours.
Okay. I'll make a note of that. I'll reach out to Derek and we'll see if he grants your request to cover that UFC fight night in Brazil next week. So yeah, definitely we'll keep that in mind. All right, now we come now to the main event of the evening. Already, yes, the NBA power rankings. They're here and they're now, and I'll admit it, I had a bit of a tough time, mainly because of the results of tonight. Earlier in the day, I put it together and I was happy with it. But then after seeing some of the results from tonight, I had to make some indemnits while MF was doing the UFC preview. I had made those indemnits, and let's remember, last 10, definitely the key factor in all of this. So yeah. Looking back at the rankings that I composted a couple of weeks ago, there are, I think I do have some, I think I have one new addition in there. I think all the other teams that I have in there are pretty much the same. Well, actually, no, I do have one dud in there, and that is the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks, I do not have them in my power rankings this week. 4-6 in the last 10. I had them in there going into the day, but after their demoralizing loss to the champion Cavaliers, I had to make an indemnit, and I had to put them out of the rankings. I had them as originally I had them at number 10 going into the day, but after that tough loss to Cleveland, and 4-6 in the last 10. No, that's not going to get it done. So, Atlanta, I'm sorry. It's adios for you. So, but right now I'm going to start it off at number 10 with a team that right now is that is lucky to still be in the power rankings. I mean, they're 5-5 in their last 10 games. They're on a 2-game losing streak. And that team, I got to be honest, it's the Los Angeles Clippers. Losers of 2 in a row, 5-5 in the last 10 games. This is one of those begrudging picks, if I have to be real honest. 36-25, they're 14 games out of first in the Golden State Warriors, who are in my top, who, despite their recent struggles, are still in my top 5. Clippers, they're 4th in three-point percentage. They're 5th in field goal percentage and 5th in points scored. The rebounds need work, though. They're only 17th in that department. But, yeah, I mean, 5-5 in their last 10. I mean, they lost their last 2 in a row. and it doesn't get any easier for them. They lost their last game to Milwaukee. I mean, that's not going to get it done. Absolutely not. Over the span of a couple of weeks, I mean, they've lost to Golden State, they've lost to San Antonio, they beat Charlotte, but since they lost to Houston, which is understandable, and Milwaukee. No, that doesn't really jive well with me. So looking at their upcoming schedule, tomorrow night they'll be going up against the Chicago Bulls at the United Center in Chicago, the ABC Saturday night game of the week. Check that out on ABC tomorrow night. Monday night, they're at home against the Boston Celtics. Wednesday, they go up against the Minnesota Timberwolves. March 9th, they go to Memphis against the Grizzlies. Next Saturday, March 11th, they host Philadelphia. On the 13th, they're at Utah. The 15th, they're home against Milwaukee. And then on the 16th, they're at the Denver Nuggets. And our next power rankings, of course, will be in 2 weeks on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. So we'll cover all of our entrance schedules up until St. Patrick's Day. So, but yeah, they got a good team. They got a promising team. It's just that they're struggling right now. They've lost their last two, and they're going up against the Bulls team that, I'll be honest, they're in my rankings. I got them a few spots higher. They're in that 6 to 10 threshold, no doubt about it. And I know it's going to make MF very happy, as well as our friend and fellow Bulls fan, Matt Ward. I definitely have something I need to get off my chest with Chicago, and I mean that in a good way. So with that being said, number 10, begrudgingly, it is the Los Angeles Clippers. MF, what do you think of that?
I want to agree with you, Anthony. You make a very valid point, but I hate to do this to you. They're not in my rankings, and here's the thing: I had myself a 5-5 team, and unfortunately, you went the wrong way. Where you have the LA Clippers, I got the Utah Jazz, and it's an apples to oranges dilemma, and you really nailed it. You brought up all the compelling arguments. 5-5 in the last 10 games, losers of 2 in a row. But for me, the reason why I give the Jazz the edge over the Clippers is actually the records. 37-24 is Utah. 36-25 is the Clippers. It's a 1 difference. But because of that 1 game difference, that is what put me to say yes to Utah to the LA Clippers. And let me tell you, begrudgingly, this was not a popular decision. I know I'm probably going to get a little bit of some haterade over this, but at the end of the day, like you said, it's my power rankings. I'm going to stick to it. That was not an easy call for me either. At the end of the day, it's not. I know it's not going to be a popular decision, but sorry, I just don't think. I just don't have them there. I don't have them there. And the thing is, when you're 5-5, that's a tough call. That's a tough decision to make. And I know I'm probably going to get a little heat for that, but a better 5-5 team. And I'm sorry, the Clippers. The injuries was one of the factors. I rather, when you got a lot of injuries, that actually does a factor in. And that's why I did what I did. So I know it's not a popular decision, but sorry, that's how I feel. All right. Now my number 9, again, grudging decision. And that is, I'm going to go with the Chicago Bulls. Even though I know, Anthony, you might disagree with me on that one. Because you're gonna say that the Bulls needs to be a little bit higher. Look, I'm gonna say this: They're 6-4 in the last 10 games. 31-30. Okay, you're over 500. Yay. Good for you guys. I cannot believe the trade actually is paying off. And that's a shocker to me. I it's a good thing we didn't really cover the trade deadline, or we went really deep into it, because if we did, I'm sorry, Anthony, I would have gone off on my Chicago Bulls. I was really upset. I was really angry. I was furious. I was everything you wanted in Mikey. This would have been a Cerebral Viper rant for the ages. And I mean it. I would have pushed it to a rated R level. I was that mad with the Bulls. But look at what has happened. In the last since that trade, we beat Phoenix, we beat Cleveland, we lost to Denver. Okay, that was expected. But then we went and we beat the Golden State Warriors. That's huge. Now, I know a lot of people were like, oh, but there was no Kevin Durant and this and that, blah, 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 blah. No, look, you still had Klay Thompson. You still had Draymond Green. You still had Steph Curry. You had the Golden State Warriors. That was a major, major, major win for the Bulls. And let me tell you, that was the reason that I put them in the power ranking, because if it wasn't for that, they're not in it. Sorry, I'm being real blunt with you now. So, big thing for Chicago. I know they need to be a little higher, maybe 8, maybe 7, but I can't do that. Not when I believe the Western Conference has some better teams and better overall records. So I'm sorry, I'm not pulling the trigger there. My number 9, again, begrudgingly, Chicago Bulls. Anthony, it's yours.
I do have Chicago higher. Like MF said, my number 9. This is actually where I have the Utah Jazz, MF, because they won tonight. And I think that's going to alter, and it definitely altered the standings a little bit in their favor over the Clippers. So the Jazz, winner, they knocked off Milwaukee in Milwaukee. They also won in Washington. Tough loss at Oklahoma City. A nice win against Minnesota. And a tough loss to Minnesota, rather, but a 112-97 beatdown of the garbage Brooklyn Nets. Yes, they are a garbage team. My goodness, I cannot believe how awful this team is. But it is what it is. Sunday, the Jazz go to Sacramento against the Kings. Monday, they're at home against the New Orleans Pelicans. Wednesday, they go up against the Houston Rockets, who are in my top 3, by the way. March 11th, against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Honorable mention when it comes to the power rankings. I initially had them in, but because of a result from tonight, a shocking result from tonight with OKC, I cannot in good conscience put them in the rankings. March 13th, they go up. They're at home against the Clippers. And then on the 15th, and then after that, after the Clippers, March 15th, they're at Detroit. And then on the 16th, they're at Cleveland. And that's it until the next power rankings in 2 weeks. The Jazz are 9th in field goal percentage. They're 12th in three-point shooting. Both of those are great. But they need to work on the rebounds, which they are 20th, and the points scored, which they're 28th. They got to start putting some points up, even though they put up points aplenty against the Brooklyn Nets. But then again, it's the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, for goodness sakes. I mean, do I even need to tell you how awful that team is right now? 1-9 in their last 10 games. I mean, they were recently on a long losing streak. I think it was like a 16, 17-game losing streak at one point. But worst record in the league at 10-49. yeah, the Brooklyn Nets are god awful. So yeah, that's where I had the Utah Jazz. That's where I have them at number 9. I was gonna put OKC in, but OKC, the Thunder are on the verge of losing to the Phoenix Suns. That doesn't sit well with me. The Suns are 19-42. They're a bottom feeder. They had won that game, OKC would have been in. Oh, it looks like they're gonna lose, so you're just an honorable mention to me. Next up, my number 8. This is where I have initially I had this team a little bit higher, but because of a result from tonight, I had to begrudgingly move them down a little bit. My number 8 is the Memphis Grizzlies. 36-26, 6-4 in the last 10 games. They lost tonight. They lost to another awful team in the Dallas Mavericks. That doesn't sit well with me either. Grizz are 18th in three-point shooting. They're 17th in total rebounds, 26th in points scored, and they're dead last in field goal percentage. That's not going to get it done come playoff time. No, it's not. And you lose to a garbage team in the Dallas Mavericks. Ugh. They had previously won their last 2. You know, they beat Denver. They took care of business against Phoenix. But you lost to Dallas. No. And it doesn't get any easier because tomorrow night you got to play the Houston Rockets. Good luck to you on that in Houston. Monday you get a freebie when you get the Brooklyn Nets. That will most definitely be an easy win. Excuse me. March 9th they go up against the Clippers. March 11th they host Atlanta. March 13th they're at home against Milwaukee. And who else do they have left? Excuse me, I do apologize for the little bit of laryngitis there. Let me see. March 15th, they're at Chicago. March 16th, they're at Atlanta. And that's it. So I initially had them a little bit higher, but because of that bad loss to Dallas, I had to move them down. So my number 8, it is the Memphis Grizzlies. Michael Fletcher, what do you think of that?
I can't really disagree with you on that one. I mean, if you're going by the last 10, yeah, okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you Memphis. I agree with that. So I'll give you that. I was going to put Oklahoma here, but you kind of talked me off the ledge on that one, which is a little bit of... All right, so...
Finally lost.
Yeah. So, I mean, that makes you 5-5, losers of 2 in a row in the last 10. Yeah, and that's not gonna... That knocks you right out. Sorry. For Memphis... Yeah, and you lost to Phoenix, too. I mean, Phoenix is actually now... That makes the LA Lakers the worst team in the Western Conference. So I mean, big up for Phoenix. You literally got out of the basement and you just helped the Lakers. Now, if everything holds form, because the Celtics has a huge lead on the Lakers right now, if that holds true, the Lakers will fall to the bottom of the Western Conference, and the only other team that is actually worse than the Lakers is actually the Brooklyn Nets. So, well, we're not going to get into that. I'm not going to waste anybody's time on that either. Okay, so, yes, I'll go with Memphis. They're my number 8. That's a begrudging decision, too. I'm not really too firm about that, but, it is what it is. All right. Number 7. I'm going to do this. I know this is probably not going to be a real popular decision here either, but, I can't help myself on this one. Number 7. They did win tonight. They did win. So they're 6-4 in the last 10 games, 37-25 overall. Real good record, like they've been doing. I want to see something more. You did make some big moves at the trading deadline that puts you in a great position to possibly win the division. Who knows? Maybe even go higher than that. But like I said, the jury's out to lunch, and I need to see more from you guys. More than ever before. I need to see more from you guys. So, this is my number 7, Toronto Raptors. Anthony, go.
Okay. I got Toronto just a smidge higher, just a smidge, because my number 7 is the Chicago Bulls. The 6-4 in the last 10 games, 31-30. They're second in rebounding. That's really good. But all other areas they need to work on. They're 20th in points scored, 25th in field goal percentage, and they're dead last in 3-point shooting percentage. That's not going to get it done. But they are on the outside looking in because, let's face it, the Eastern Conference is a meh conference. They're in the postseason picture. They would currently be the number 7 seed, and they would have to go up against the current number 2 seed, which I do believe is the Boston Celtics. So the Bulls have actually been playing very well as of late. They've won 4 out of their last 5, actually, which included a 3-game winning streak. A hard-fought win over the Celtics on the 16th. And then since our last rankings, they knocked off the Phoenix Suns. A huge win against the Cleveland Cavaliers in Cleveland on a primetime stage as part of last week's Saturday Game of the Week on ABC. A horrific loss to the Denver Nuggets. I mean, if it wasn't for that, this team would have been much higher. I'm going to be real honest with you. But the big deal, they beat the Golden State Warriors last night, 94-87. Unbelievable. They got the Clippers coming in tomorrow night. On Monday, they go to Detroit against the Pistons. Another honorable mention. March 8th, they go up against, that's Wednesday, they go up against Orlando. Next Friday, oh boy, MF, we got a tough one. We got the Houston Rockets coming in. Top 3 caliber team right there. And then on Sunday, March 12th, Selection Sunday, by the way, for the tournament, they go up against the Boston Celtics in Boston. Major implications in that one. You better believe it. Especially with how well the Celtics have been playing as of late. And then from there, the 13th, they go to Charlotte against the Hornets. The 15th, they host the Memphis Grizzlies. And then in 2 weeks on St. Patrick's Day, they go up against the Washington Wizards in Washington. So that's it for that. I know MF would have lost his mind if we were talking about the trade deadline. I'm right there with him. I mean, a lot of bad moves, including letting Doug McDermott go. I mean, why do you do that? I mean, let's face it. I think they had the mindset of Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn. Let's be realistic. Horrific booking, horrific in every sense of the word. But when you beat in a week stretch, in less than a week, you beat the 2 teams who have represented the NBA on their grandest stage in each of the last 2 years, the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors. And you also throw in a win over the Celtics and Phoenix. Just imagine how much higher this team would have been if they didn't lay that egg against the Denver Nuggets this past week. You don't do that. Ooh, this team would have been a lot higher. Trust me on that.
At least top 5, maybe even higher than that, because. And the one thing that really it really gets me, Anthony, is that, like you said, if the trade was so bad, it really clouded my judgment about it. But it looks like maybe that's what needed, to change it up, change the culture. Cameron Payne, because look who's really benefited from that trade. Tony Snell has played really good lately. Denzel Valentine, the rookie from Michigan State, he's really exploded. Fabricio has exploded lately. So it looks like the younger talent of the Bulls has finally emerged. And maybe this was a blessing in disguise. And like you said, Chicago, and it's funny because in one or in a few of the websites, they have Chicago at 7. In the NBA website, they actually have Chicago at number 6. So they got them at the 6th seed. So because of that identical records, you know?
Yeah. And they would be going up against the Washington
The Washington Wizards.
Yeah, because the Wizards are currently the 3. So
yep.
So there you have it. Chicago Bulls are my number 7. Would have been a lot more higher if they did not lay that egg against the Denver Nuggets on Tuesday night. We go to number 6, and believe it or not, I actually have a tie here, and believe it or not, this is my only tie in these power rankings this week. And they played each other tonight. Those teams being the Toronto Raptors and the Washington Wizards. Toronto Raptors 37-25, 2.5 games behind the Celtics in the Atlantic Division, 6-4 in their last 10 games with the win tonight. The Wizards, the leaders of the Southeast Division, 2.5 games over the Atlanta Hawks, 36-24, also 6-4 in their last 10 games. I mean, they were virtually even, so I had to put them both in there. Toronto Raptors, 5th in points scored. They're 9th in both 3-point percentage and field goal percentage. The rebounding, though, that's their Achilles heel, 25th in the rebounding department. And the Raptors have done pretty well. Just like Chicago, 4 out of their last 5. They knocked off the Celtics after the All-Star break. They also took care of business against the Portland Trail Blazers. Barely got by the New York Knicks in Madison Square Garden, 92-91. They split the home-and-home series with the Washington Wizards. Wednesday night, they were at home against the Wizards, but the Wizards came away with a 105-96 win. But the Raptors got their revenge. 114-106 winners in D.C. tonight. Tomorrow, they go up against the Milwaukee Bucks at the BMO Harris Bradley Center. A big weekend for that venue with that game tomorrow night. And then, of course, Fastlane on Sunday night. And then they're off for a few days. Wednesday, they go up against the New Orleans Pelicans. The game against the Wizards tonight, MF, actually was the start of a 5-game road trip for the Raptors. Good start with that, with a big win against Washington. You got road games in Milwaukee, New Orleans, Atlanta, Miami. And then they return home on Monday, March 13th when they host the Dallas Mavericks. And then from there, following the Mavs game, they host the Oklahoma City Thunder on the 16th. And then on St. Patrick's Day, they go up against the Detroit Pistons at the Palace of Auburn Hills. So there you have it. MF, you made a great point about the big move they made at the trade deadline. That will definitely help their cause, no question about it, going forward. And then from there, my other number 6 is the Washington Wizards. I had this team a lot higher going into this ranking, but with that loss tonight, I had to drop them down. 3rd in field goal percentage. They're 5th in 3-point percentage. They're 5th in points scored. But the rebounding, that's the general theme. That needs work. 20th in rebounds. They got to work on that. For the Wizards, they are 2-3 in their last 5 games since the break. They lost at Philadelphia. Who does that? They lost at home to Utah. But their claims to fame, Tuesday night, they beat the Golden State Warriors 112-108. And then on Wednesday, they went into Toronto and beat the Raptors 105-96, but then lost to the Raptors tonight 114-106. Sunday night, they host the Orlando Magic. Tuesday, they go to Phoenix against the Suns. And this is the start of a long road trip for them. They've got a 5-game road trip starting Tuesday night. They have stops in Phoenix, Denver, Sacramento, Portland, and Minnesota before returning home on the 15th to host the Dallas Mavericks. And then in 2 weeks, St. Patrick's Day, a huge home game for them against the Chicago Bulls. So that's that. So a tie. Co-number 6 is my only tie in these rankings this week. Toronto Raptors, Washington Wizards, Michael Fletcher, MF. What do you say to that?
Well, what I say to that is, obviously, well, you actually made my argument here. My number 6 was the Washington Wizards. Um, yes, that the loss kind of did hurt here in the grand scheme of things, and that would have changed a lot of things around. But here's the problem: I didn't have a time to reshuffle the deck like you did, Anthony. So I couldn't make the adjustments ahead of time. So I'm sticking with my top 10 as is, and that's the way it is. That how I'm going to play this out. So I'm going to go right into my number 5, and my number 5 this week. Well, Celtics. 39-22, 3.5 games out of the top spot in the East. They are destroying the LA Lakers right now. 6-4 in the last 10 games. They did lose not too long ago. Now they're playing. They actually got torn to shreds. I think Atlanta, like big time. They beat them down pretty badly. And then now they're looking at a really good. They won their last game. Now they're really looking good against the Lakers. So my number 5 is the Boston Celtics. Anthony, it's all yours.
I'm sorry, MF. I gotta disagree with you on that one. I know you want to keep Sir with your rankings as you had them. I understand that, but based on what I've seen, I actually have the Celtics in my top 3, believe it or not, because with this win tonight, they're going to be 7-3 in the last 10 games, I do believe, and it's going to make it a 2-game winning streak, and we'll get into that in just a moment. And I know this is not going to be a popular decision whatsoever. I know MF's probably going to be infuriated with me on this one, but I'm sorry. I got to call it like I see it. This team has not been playing well as of late. Even though they have the best record in the game, I have not liked what I've seen out of them. My number 5, and this is big time begrudging, my number 5 is the Golden State Warriors. I'm sorry. Despite the best record at 50-11, yes, they're 7-3 in the last 10 games, but they've lost 2 in a row. 2 in a row. The Washington Wizards and, of course, the Bulls. And now you've got Kevin Durant out indefinitely. That's not going to help things either. That's another factor right there. Yes, they're first in points scored. Yes, they're first in field goal percentage. They're third in three-point shooting percentage. And they're 7th in total rebounds. Sorry, I have not liked how they've been playing as of late. And especially with that Durant injury, now let's really see what this team can do. I mean, before these losses to Washington and Chicago, they were playing real good. I mean, they were, according to my notes here, my most recent schedule, they had won 3 in a row. They came out of the All-Star break looking really good. Home wins against the Clippers and the Nets, and a road win in Philadelphia, but they lost to the Wizards in Washington on Tuesday, and then last night losing to the Bulls in Chicago. A game that I honestly felt they should have won, but they played dismal. The shooting was terrible, and they're 1-2 on this 5-game road trip. They won in Philadelphia, good start, but losses to Washington and Chicago. 2 more road games. Sunday, they go to Madison Square Garden against the Knicks. as part of the Sunday afternoon game of the week on ABC, 3:30. Monday, they got to go up against the Atlanta Hawks at Phillips Arena. That's not going to be an easy game either. And then they return home on Wednesday to host the Boston Celtics. Oh boy, what a game that's going to be. Maybe, possibly an NBA Finals preview, maybe. You never know. Possibly. I'm just saying. Next Friday, they go on another road trip. This time, a brief 2-game road trip. Next Friday, March 10th, they go up against the Minnesota Timberwolves and MF. Circle this on your calendar. Next Saturday night, the ABC Saturday night game of the week, the Golden State Warriors against the San Antonio Spurs. Can you say Western Conference Finals preview? I can. No doubt about it.
Very possible. Very possible.
Tuesday, the 14th, they host the Philadelphia 76ers. That's an easy win. And then on Thursday, the 16th, another easy win when they host the Orlando Magic. And that's it before our next rankings in 2 weeks on St. Patrick's Day. I know this team should be a lot higher, but I'm sorry. I have not liked how they played, and especially with the Durant injury, that's going to go a long way. So, but for right now, begrudgingly, it's hard, but I have to do it. My number 5, it's the Golden State Warriors. I'm sorry. MF, I know you're going to rip me to shreds on this, but who do you have anyway?
Now, are we in the top 4 now?
Top 5.
Top 5.
I don't think you did your number 5, but did.
No, I think I said number 5. My number 5 was the Wizards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I guess I misheard. All right. All right. So, oh yeah. So I gotta continue on here.
Yeah, we're at number 4.
Number 4. Okay. Yep. All right. My number 4. I gotta go with your reigning and defending NBA champion Cleveland Cavaliers. 7-3 in their last 10. Won their last game. Second in 3-point shooting percentage, third in points scored, fifth in field goal percentage, 11th in total rebounds. Best record in the Eastern Conference, 42-18. A humongous win tonight in a wild and crazy game. I'll get into that in just a moment. Let's see what they've done. Since the All-Star break, they've been on an alternate. They've been alternating wins and losses over their last 5 games. It started on the 23rd with an easy home win against the New York Knicks. Last Saturday in that ABC Saturday night game of the week, they got beat down at home by the Chicago Bulls, 117-99. Monday night, they got back on track with a win against Milwaukee. Wednesday night, they went into Boston and they lost to the Celtics, 103-99. And then tonight, 135-130 win over the Atlanta Hawks. Can you say 5-star classic? Chock full of Shakespearean drama? Absolutely. What a game that was. Tomorrow night, they begin a home-and-home series with LeBron's former team, the Miami Heat. Tomorrow night, they go to Miami. And then Monday night, the Heat come into Cleveland. And then on Thursday, is it Thursday? Yes. Thursday, March 9th, they go to Detroit. Start of a 3-game road trip. And then on the 11th, they go to Orlando against the Magic. And how about this on the 12th? Here's another possible NBA Finals preview. In Houston against the Rockets. That is another potential NBA Finals preview right there. Cavs and Rockets. What a series that would be if it comes down to it. And a great way to cap up your selection Sunday right there. And then on the 14th, they host the Detroit Pistons. And then on the 16th, they host the Utah Jazz. So getting into this game tonight against Atlanta, my Lord, 135-130. Kyrie Irving, have yourself a night, kid. What a night for him. 43 points. And 9 assists. LeBron chips in with 38 and 13 rebounds. those two were the catalysts in that win tonight. And Tim Hardaway Jr. for Atlanta coming off the bench with 36. I mean, amazing. So what a game that was. I would have had him in the top three, but the Celtics loss definitely the major factor there. And with what the Celtics are currently doing right now against the Lakers, handling their business like they should against the dud teams. So this is the theme of the rankings, begrudging picks. I know this team should be in the top three, but the Celtic loss was the one that pretty much did it, as well as the Bull loss the previous week. So that's it. Number 4, Cleveland Cavaliers. Now MF goes.
And my number 4, this is where I want to see. All right. This is where I have the Golden State Warriors. They're my number 4. You basically said everything that you needed to say in that one. I'm going into my number 3. My number 3 is the Houston Rockets. I mean, what a season they've been having so far. 43-19. There is really nothing more to say about it. They're the number 3 seed in the West right now. And let me tell you, they are that close from number 2. I mean, it's an apples to oranges type thing. I gave a slight edge to the number 2 team, barely. But this was definitely, I feel this is the right decision for me. My number 3 is the Houston Rockets. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, right there with you, MF. Houston Rockets are my number 3 as well. I initially had them at number 2, but because of what's going on right now in the circles, I got to bump Houston down to 3 as well. 7-3 in the last 10 games. Won their last game, 43-19, 4.5 games behind the San Antonio Spurs in the Southwest Division. The Rockets are 2nd in points scored, 9th in both field goal percentage and rebounds, and 13th in three-point shooting. And of course, you saw what happened with Eric Gordon winning the 3-point contest as part of the All-Star festivities a couple weeks ago. Looking at the Rockets here, they lost to the Miami Heat before the All-Star break on the 15th, but after the break, since then they've gone 3-1. Easy road win in New Orleans against the Pelicans, beat them down by 30. A 142-130 win over Minnesota last Saturday. But the only difference here, Monday night, a tough luck and a bad loss to the Indiana Pacers, 117-108. Otherwise, I would have had him at number 2, most likely. And then on Wednesday, they rebounded from that dreadful loss with a very nice 122-103 win at Staples Center against the Clippers. Big win there. They next go up against the Memphis Grizzlies tonight. And then Monday night, huge game against the San Antonio Spurs in San Antonio on Monday night. Wednesday, they host the Utah Jazz. Next Friday, they go up against the Chicago Bulls in Chicago. Oh yeah, we're gonna have some memories of 97 and 98, if you know what I mean. And that's a buddy bowl because our good friend, I stand corrected. Yeah, Houston Rockets against the Chicago Bulls. I'm thinking about the Utah Jazz for some odd reason. Because I remember the Utah Jazz are going to be playing the Chicago Bulls. I think they play them on the following night, the 11th. I guess I got sidetracked by the schedule. But Houston against Chicago in Chicago next Friday night. And then on the 12th, they got the Cleveland Cavaliers coming in. NBA Finals preview, perhaps. That would be a hell of a series if we get that far. And then on the 15th, they host the LA Lakers. And then in 2 weeks, they go up against the New Orleans Pelicans at the home of the All-Star Game, Smoothie King Center in New Orleans. I mean, what else is there to say right now? I mean, Mike D'Antoni, if I'm going to be real honest with you, I think Mike D'Antoni is my front runner for Coach of the Year. I mean, look what he's done with this team. I mean, this team was, a middle-of-the-road team, but he's got the Houston Rockets as back to where they once were, way back when. One of the elite teams in the Western Conference. I mean, they haven't been this good since the days of Hakeem Olajuwon and Vernon Maxwell and Clyde Drexler when they won those back-to-back championships in 94 and 95 under the legendary Rudy T. So right now, this to me, this team right here is the biggest threat to both San Antonio and Golden State. Even though I still think Golden State and San Antonio are the master class of the Western Conference, this is a team you do not want to see next month when we start the NBA playoffs. Trust me on that. I think this team has what it takes to get to the finals. I really do. Especially with James Harden and Eric Gordon leading the way. Oh, yeah. This is a team you do not want to deal with next month. So with that being said, number 3, it is the Houston Rockets. Number 2, how about this? If only Michael Bullock were here, he would have been downright giddy when we told him, when MF and I tell him that his favorite team, his childhood team, the Boston Celtics, are number 2 in the NBA power rankings for this week. They are about to be as of now, they're listed at 39 and 22, leaders of the Atlantic Division, 2.5 games ahead of the Toronto Raptors. As of now, it's listed at 6 and 4 in the last 10 with their last win. But with what they're doing right now, I think it's safe to say they're going to be 7 and 3 in the last 10 and winners of 2 in a row. And we can improve that record to 40 and 22. And I believe 3 games ahead of the Toronto Raptors in the Atlantic Division. For the Celtics, they're 5th in points scored. They're 10th in three-point shooting percentage, 15th in field goal percentage, but their Achilles heel is rebounding. They need to work on that. They're 27th in that department. I remember Bullock even acknowledged that when we did our last rankings 2 weeks ago. Look what the Celtics have been doing. As of now, they're 2-2 in the 4 games since the All-Star break. That tough loss in Toronto against the Raptors on February 24th. Went into Detroit to beat the Pistons, 104-98. Bad loss to the Atlanta Hawks on Monday night, 114-98 at home. But they more than made up for it when they knocked off the defending NBA champion Cleveland Cavaliers, 103-99. Right now, they're playing the Los Angeles Lakers at Staples Center. And at the end of the third quarter, 93-76 in favor of the Celtics. Needless to say, they're going to win that game. This is the start of, they are currently in the midst of a 5-game West Coast road trip. And this is a great way to start it off. And then they have games against, and then the Phoenix Suns. They go up against Phoenix on Sunday. That's fine and dandy. That should be an easy win. But then Monday and Wednesday, Monday, you got to go up against the Clippers. That's not an easy game, even though they've been struggling. And then on Wednesday, they got to go to Golden State against the Warriors. Another possible finals preview. Next Friday, they end the road trip against Denver in Denver. And then they come home on Selection Sunday, March 12th, when they host in a Strictly Sports Buddy Bowl, my and Michael Fletcher's Chicago Bulls. ABC Sunday afternoon game of the week, buddy, right there. May the best team win. Wednesday the 15th, they host the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then in 2 weeks, they go to Barclays to take on the god-awful Brooklyn Nets. The 10-50 Brooklyn Nets, by the way. So, Isaiah Thomas, what can you say about this young man? He has been on fire. The Celtics have been on fire. I mean, I know a lot of people are ripping on Danny Ainge because of him not really pulling any triggers. I mean, I know they were in the running to get Andrew Bogut. But Andrew Bogut now with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, I was informed by a guy I work with at my job, who's a big Celtics fan. I'll tell you that right now. So there you go. My number 2, it is the Boston Celtics. So MF, how about Mr. Bullock's Celtics lately?
They've been unbelievable. No doubt about it. I'm sorry, I wish I could give the Celtics their due, and I know Bullock will probably be a little angry at me for where I put them in the ranking, but, it is what it is. Like I said, I didn't have the time to mess with it a little more deeper. If I did, then I would have done. They probably would have been in my top 3, top 2. As a matter of fact, if you remember, I put him at number 5. And I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for that from Michael Bullock. I know I'm going to hear an earful from that. I could guarantee it. But sorry, that's the way it went down. I'm not going to apologize for that. Sorry, not sorry is what I say. Number 2 for me, Cleveland Cavaliers. Barely number 2. That's how I feel about that. And now it's time. The new number 1 in the NBA power rankings, the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, yes, my boy Alex Zapato, he's probably going to go absolutely bonkers. He's probably going to hit me with the black and silver somewhere. Let me tell you, this team has been unbelievable. Greg Popovich, what a job he's been doing. Kawhi Leonard, he deserves to be in the conversation for the MVP award this year. LaMarcus Aldridge, he's been unbelievable. They've been dealing with injuries, especially now they got Pau Gasol out, but you still got the ageless wonders. You still got Tony Parker. You still got Manu Ginobili. So you still got them 2 going after all these years. 5 NBA World Championships. Don't say that in front of Alex. He'll probably yell at you and say that they should have had 6. But okay, it's what it is. But they have right now, I'm going to say it, with everything that has happened with the injuries with Golden State lately, I think San Antonio is going to be the number 1 team in the Western Conference when this is all said and done. I think they're going to have the top seed going into the playoffs. That's just my personal opinion alone. I think they're going to be the number 1 team in the West. So nothing more to say here. They've been red hot. San Antonio Spurs, number 1 power rankings this week. Anthony Florio, take it home.
100% agree, MF. It is the San Antonio Spurs, the hottest team in the league right now. We can update their record. They had a very tough time with the New Orleans Pelicans of all teams tonight, but they managed to somehow get it done. They won it 101-98 in overtime. It just went final. So we can now move their record up to 47-13, 9-1 in the last 10 games, winners of now 6 in a row. And by God, this one was not easy. They got it done, though. They found a way to do it. They were down 4 late with a few seconds to go. I think it was under a minute or so. They were down by 4, but they found a way to get it done, and they got it done like they always do. First in 3-point shooting percentage, 3rd in field goal percentage, 10th in points scored, 16th in rebounds, and MF pretty much ran down all the bullet points. So let's see what the Spurs have done. I don't know who that 6th consecutive win was against, but they have knocked up, and 4 of their last 5 have been on the road. Easy road win against Orlando, and then road wins against both the Clippers and the Lakers at Staples Center. Barely got by the Indiana Pacers on Wednesday night, 100-99. Had a very tough time with the New Orleans Pelicans, but they still found a way to do it, 101-98 in overtime. Tomorrow night, no rest for the weary. They go back home, and they are in the midst of a 3-game homestand when they host the Minnesota Timberwolves tomorrow night. And then Monday night, that huge game against the Houston Rockets. Major implications in that one. Wednesday, they host the Sacramento Kings. Thursday, they go to Oklahoma City against the Thunder as part of the TNT Thursday night doubleheader. And then, like I said earlier, next Saturday night, March 11th, book it on your calendars, folks. They host the Golden State Warriors, the ABC Saturday night game of the week, right there. What a dandy that one's going to be. March 13th, they host the Atlanta Hawks. And then on the 15th, they host the Portland Trail Blazers. And that's it. And I don't know how, for the life of me, they nearly lose to the New Orleans Pelicans. But thank goodness they found a way to get it done. Kawhi Leonard, 31 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals in the win tonight. Aldridge chipped in with 21. Patty Mills with 15. Gasol with 13 off the bench. And they overcame a strong effort by not just Anthony Davis, but Drew Holiday. I mean, 26 points for him. And how about DeMarcus Cousins? 19 points and 23 rebounds. What a night for Cousins. I mean, he's been playing he's actually been playing better since he got to New Orleans. I'll admit it. Drew Holiday with 26 and 7 rebounds, 5 assists. And Anthony Davis, another one of his vintage big man games, 29 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists for the MVP of the All-Star games. So yeah. But San Antonio finds a way to get it done. Not a big surprise. So 6 in a row now, 9-1 in the last 10. And I agree with MF. I mean, if they keep doing what they're doing, oh boy, that's all there is to say. So number one, no question about it, with a bullet, it is the San Antonio Spurs. And that will put the bow on this edition of Strictly Sports. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We're going to get into our shout-outs now. MF, you start it off, and then I'll set up the future content. So it's all yours, man.
Yes, indeed. First off, I want to say a major thank you to all the great fans out there that makes the show as amazing as it is. You guys are the best fans in the world. I also want to give a big shout out to my friends in the junior high and high school days, to the 2184 crew, to the super fans. You guys are all special and everything else. And all right, Anthony alluded to this earlier in the night, and I want to publicly talk about this. My thoughts and my prayers goes all the way out to the Vals and the Holloway families. A few days ago, there was a major tragedy, and there was a loss of life. Out of respect, I want to give a big, sincere that we're thinking about you. We appreciate you guys, and we love you guys. I want to talk briefly because I think it needs to be addressed. Katrina Vals is actually a friend of mine who I got to know through East Providence High School. As a matter of fact, we were together in U.S. history it was my junior year. She actually sat in front of me. We were classmates, and I had a whole bunch of the guys, Christian Preston. I could talk about it for days at a time. And I got to know her enough, through other functions, other times. I saw her, one time, just mingling through the city of East Providence. She's a good friend of mine. She's a friend of Sean May Lambert. She's close with Sarah Johnson, who I'm really close with. So it's a close-knit family. And the thing is that I know I got to meet her son maybe once or twice, Jeremiah, at Walmart. She used to shop there a good amount of time, so I got to meet him. And he was a nice young lad, a nice young guy. And my heart breaks for them. There was an accident that happened almost a week ago now, and Jeremiah unfortunately passed away. And Derek wanted me to talk about this because of my connection, not only with Sean Bay and with Katrina, but with that side of the family. My thoughts and prayers are with them. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done. I think when we talk about close to home deaths, this is one of them, because it's an East Providence connection. And when one person of East Providence gets hurt, somebody from that EP Townie connection, that class of 2002, when somebody indirectly or directly gets affected, we're all affected. The prayers, the good wishes, the well wishes for the Vals and the Holloway families has been unbelievable. And I just want to put my 2 cents in tonight. Um, we're thinking about you guys. We're so, so, so sorry for this. No parent should ever have the that feeling of has to lay to rest their son or daughter, and at such a young age, it's even more. It's mind-boggling. So I hope this brings at least a little comfort. I know the words cannot express it, but I hope tonight I can at least tell you guys that we're thinking about you, we care about you guys, and we love you guys. And I hope that resonates more than anything else here tonight. I really got nothing more to say. Rest in peace, Jeremiah. We're gonna. I hope you're looking down at heaven tonight, and I hope you're please comfort your family, man. You're a great angel. You're gone way too soon. Anthony, it's all yours, my friend.
Very well said, MF. I know I don't necessarily have the same ties that you do to them, but as the man of good faith that I am, and you know that very well, definitely want to send out my thoughts and prayers and condolences to the Vows family during this most difficult of times. And we want to let you know that all of us here at Strictly Sports are thinking of you and yours at this time. And yeah, you're definitely going to be in our thoughts and prayers tonight, no doubt about it. And very well said. I mean, I can't even come close to what MF just said. So very well said indeed. Great story there. So yeah, on a positive note, we wanted to send out our shout outs, of course, to our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows what they are. We appreciate it as always. Of course, special shout outs to the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, Dee Dee Whitson, and her family, of course, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Trump in the UK, our other First Ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway, our crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Bradison, and Rob Parsons. And of course, major shout out to Michael Bullock, who unfortunately could not be with us tonight. He's resting up as he will be taking part in the Special Olympics Super Plunge, the 24-hour Super Plunge at Salty Brine Beach tomorrow and into Sunday. A 24-hour thing. I mean, God bless this guy, man. I mean, I've known him for almost for about 26 and a half years. I've known this guy, and I've known him actually longer than I've known MF. And Michael Bullock, let me tell you, man, he's got a heart of gold, and God bless him for what he's about to endure. I mean, it is going to be bone-chilling cold this weekend here in our neck of the woods of East Providence, Rhode Island. It's going to be bone-chilling cold, my friends. Let me tell you that.
He picked the worst time to do the plunge, man. I mean, we're talking 30 degrees of air. Think about what the temperature is going to feel like in the water, man. Oh, like
yeah, but he this was something he wanted to do, so we're gonna give him that nod. So we wish him the best, and hopefully he'll be in one piece come Sunday night. We'll get into that in just a moment. So a major shout out to Michael Bullock. We wish you all the best with the 24-hour Super Plunge tomorrow and into Sunday as part of his endeavors with the Special Olympics. And of course, our other major shout out, of course, the Imperial Grand Poobah himself, Derek Ferreira. I messaged him about MF wanting to do the about that fight night in Brazil. He says sure, but I already have a loaded docket for that show. So okay. So we'll see what happens. We'll get more into that in just a little bit as well. So getting back to my shout outs, of course, all of our local television personalities from channels 6, 10, and 12. Of course, the legendary Tony Petrarca, 30 years at WPRI 12. We had a big tribute for him this past week. So Michael Bullock pretty much touched on that the other night. And of course, all of our friends at ESPN, Fox Sports 1, NHL Network, MLB Network, NFL Network, NBA TV, the whole 9 yards. Julie Alexandria, Lindsay McCormick, Stata Sorrell, our friends from The Road Show, Will Gilbert, Michaela Johnson, and Brendan Kirby, and of course, former co-hosts Megan Mooney and Mary Larson. And last but certainly not least, of course, my wonderful church family at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street in Providence. If you need a church home, check them out. Exit 25 off Route 95. Sunday morning at 9 a.m., the return of Sunday morning Bible study. We haven't had that in a while. We're going to get the ball rolling on that on Sunday morning. Looking forward to that as always. And then a little after, around 10 or so, a little after that will be the Sunday morning service. And then Wednesday nights at 7, Bible study, and then some other things going on as well. So love those folks to death, and I look forward to seeing them again this weekend for what will be another great Sunday morning Bible study and Sunday morning church service. I always look forward to that. So that'll do it for that. So that'll do it for this. So we will next see you. Normally it would have been tomorrow night for the Fastlane preview, but unfortunately will not be doing that. We already did it, of course. We did it on Thursday night. 13 views as of right now, so I appreciate the content checking out there by you guys. Feel free to chime in with your thoughts about the event as well. And so we'll next be with you Sunday night following the Fastlane pay-per-view right back here on the Tone 25. Since it is a Monday Night Raw exclusive pay-per-view, I will be hosting that recap show. MF will be there. Michael Bullock will hopefully be there, and we'll hopefully have Dede Woodson as well. And we'll sort out all the fallout from Fastlane. I'll give you our thoughts on the event. And then Monday night, we have Ridiculously Raw. We start out all the fallout from Fastlane, and we officially start the road to WrestleMania. And my Tony's take on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling. And I've got some very positive feedback about last night's Impact Wrestling. I'll say that right now, with one minor little gripe. I'll be honest with you. And then Tuesday night, either 10 or 10:30 on MF's channel, Brace Fair 95, we've got the Cerebral Smack Talk. We'll go down SmackDown Live. We'll see if MF includes a Mikey's Mindset. He hasn't done that in a while, so maybe we'll get a Mikey's Mindset on that. And then next Friday night, Strictly Sports. I don't know what Derek has on the docket, but Derek just messaged me, like I said. I pitched the idea of MF talking about the UFC fight night in Brazil, but Derek says he's got a loaded docket. Oh, boy. I can only imagine what he's got in store for us next Friday night on Strictly Sports. So that'll do it for this. So thank you all so very much for tuning in. And until Sunday night for our recap of Fastlane, it's Anthony Florio here for Good Ol' MF, Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock, Derek Ferreira, Dede Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed weekend. And until Sunday night for our Fastlane recap, you've been watching Strictly Sports right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. Townie Strong, and into that young man who unfortunately passed away. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. Hashtag Jameer Strong. Hashtag Townie Pride. That's all there is to it. For now, Anthony Florio, for Good Ol' MF, Michael Fletcher. So long.